welcome to our study group. Hi, everyone, from wherever you guys are calling. It is Monday night here on Skype, and my name is Jona Bryndis. We are part of the ongoing sacred self-healing community that discusses deeper spiritual aspects. And I want to say hello to all these different parts of the world, all these different tribes that you're representing here. Very important to keep that in mind, that we are forming this beautiful grid around the planet right now. So the study group, guys, is something that we do to use the opportunity to go deeper. And last Wednesday, I talked about the etherization, the spiritualization of ourselves, and what this even means, what the esoteric concepts are that are behind that, and basically why you guys are here. Yeah. Can anybody put this into simple words? Why you are seeking, why you are interested in topics like this? Just real quick, just to hear this from you, not me telling you why you're here. Embodying. Okay, so the word embodying is just a word. Sean, do you mind elaborating on that? It's very important to stay precise. Yeah, like what do you want to embody?
I guess I want to embody not the past, present, and future, but just what I've learned from the past and trying to project the future and the present and how it affects me and how it takes me away from myself even more, and just how to not do that.
Okay, you use the word fix you. Okay, so um, just your typical energy coaching kind of mini session. Okay, what does the word fix imply?
Well, that something's not working or broken.
Yeah. Okay. Now, while we all probably perceive it this way, that we are unwhole in some way, and that we are seeking for something to make ourselves whole. Yeah, that's the subjective experience of that. There is a part in you, though, that must be informing you, yeah, about what it would be like, yeah, if you were whole. Can you say that again without using a phrase such as broken or not working?
Yeah, of course. I guess I just like to feel my natural impulses without being affected so much by other people, places, and things.
All
It's
right.
almost like I want to protect it for myself, but not protect it in like, caving in kind of thing, or lashing out. That's where I'm at. I don't know
So
if that makes
yeah, not being affected by other people's stuff, right? By your outer
beautiful.
conditions
Thank
or
you. 'Cause I
circumstances.
care too much sometimes, and it gets me into trouble.
Okay. So that's a form of freedom. That's a freedom impulse. Yeah.
Huge,
Yeah. You're like
huge.
wanting to be unaffected by, say what other people say or what other people think or what other people feel.
Thank you. That's been my
Yeah.
lifelong thing. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
So that's a whole different way of defining, what it is that you're seeking. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
I really appreciate that.
All right. What are other
Things are
reasons?
pretty well at the moment, so I just don't want them to F up. Yeah.
What are other reasons? So we have the impulse of freedom, being independent. What else?
Yeah, and Matthew, yeah.
Hi, Matthew.
For me, it's more curiosity
Did you
of
say
life.
curious?
Curiosity, yeah.
Yeah, curiosity.
Um, Knowing what I know, experiencing what I've experienced, and then a lot of that past experiences were based on old beliefs. And if I didn't have those beliefs, would that experience be different, but it's like resetting to the moment of the experience, not the past or the future. Living right in that moment, being curious of what this moment entails, what it's going to show me.
Mm-hmm. So that's an impulse that has to do with like maybe wanting to understand better, wanting to understand yourself.
It's not understand, it's wanting to experience myself, my true self.
Okay. All right. So that's where so this has to do with getting closer to who you truly are. You know,
Correct.
I mean, when I used the word understand, I didn't mean it just in a mental way, just really exploring, finding out who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that's a form of understanding, you know, because if you don't
Yeah.
know what you are or who you are, you know, then and this, by the way, is just the strongest impulse that we receive through our consciousness. Yeah, the curiosity of exploring and finding out who we are. There is something in us that tells us there is something there. Yeah, animals don't have that. Now, like a tiger doesn't ask itself, "Who am I?" You know, so that's only in conscious beings. This curiosity is a very, very strong impulse. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Other kinds of impulses that you feel within yourself? Freedom,
Different,
curiosity. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, different choices.
Different what? Sorry.
Just choices that are not like, I don't want my choices to be affected by the roles that I have to play or others have to play all the time.
That's still freedom. That's still within the freedom range. You know, that's just a different angle, but it really is the independence. You know, you want to really make your choices based on who you are, what you want, what you need, and so forth. So that's a form of freedom
Right.
seeking. Hmm. What about love? Anybody here because they want to understand or feel more love, more connection in their life? Yeah, Linda. Hmm. It's quite a few of you. So how does that express? Does anybody want to share? I mean, we don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to experience more love in my life. How do we get there? How do we get to develop the desire, yeah, to connect deeper or to feel more? Anybody an idea?
Compassion.
Yeah, compassion is a certain form, it's a certain expression of connection. One of the first ones, you know, one of the ones that come to us, you know, naturally because we are programmed to have compassion. It's actually rather unnatural not to have compassion for humans, which is not to be confused with empathy. So how do we get to that place in our life that we feel something like a desire to connect more or have more love in our life? I don't know about you, but for me, it was very clear. It was the absence thereof. Yeah. Like not actually having enough.
It was the absence for me as well, but also curious about the concept of love. It's probably,
Okay.
I've looked at it from all angles. It has many facets, and exploring that concept of love from curiosity, because
Mm-hmm.
I got trained a certain type of perception of love
Mm-hmm.
from my societal cultural upbringings.
And we all do. Yeah, we all do.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah. So finding out the truth about love, or the mystery of love.
Better word, mystery. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, here, the impulse to better understand something, basically to find the truth about it. Yeah. The truth. Yeah. What is the truth about love? Yeah. And once we know the truth about something, or the secret of it, the secret is obviously not correct because it's not a secret. But once we understand it better and know how to do it, how to get it, how to express it, how to manifest it, well, then it's not a mystery anymore. Right? So we got these three components here, guys: the impulse for freedom, the impulse for truth, and the impulse for love. Yeah, and they're all interconnected with one another. Can you see that? Can I find out the truth about love without freedom? No, I have to liberate myself from all these preconceived ideas, from these programs that Matthew, that you just talked about, before I even get to that place. Yeah, before I even get to question, what I understand as love. Can I get to true freedom without curiosity, without learning truth, learning to discern truth? No, because if I don't know how to discern truth, I don't even know if I'm free or not. That is a big issue in our society nowadays, if you think about it. A big issue is that, especially here in the United States, everybody thinks they're so free. They're so free. And yet they're not. What is the component that is missing? Truth.
Choice. Truth.
Well,
Sorry.
the truth. Yeah. Because without truth, you can't make choices. Well, you can make choices, but you can't make conscious choices. So we have these three components: truth, love, and freedom. And basically, they come to us in through the experience of a lack, or like Sean, like you worded it in your subjective experiences, something isn't working. Yeah, so it's not aligned with one another. It's not the life that you're living is not attuned to either. And then it always depends on our personal circumstances. What the sort of the biggest striving then expresses for us. Yeah, so not everybody will be able to say, well, I strive for freedom. Some people can. Yeah, so anyone who does a little bit of spiritual work will recognize that a lot of their seeking is actually driven by freedom. Or, Matthew, in your case, curiosity, trying to find truth. Or, Linda, like in your case, driven by connection, by love, wanting love. Yeah, at the end of the day, these three components are the ones that we could call the pillars of our consciousness. And the order in which we basically go through them, and this is very important here for you guys, because I often talk about the higher expressions of things. I often talk about, the higher expression of love, the higher expression of this or that. Yeah, the ability to discern that cannot be developed in you if you have not yet, discovered that truth is something that you need to, basically earn. You need to earn truth. You need to earn the ability to discern truth. Because if you don't, then you mistake, things such as marriage or, all these preconceived and programmed versions of love, relationship, and connection as love. So you need to have truth in order to no love, no true connection. And in order to have truth, to have that ability to discern truth, you first need to liberate a part of you. You need to seek sort of the freedom from all this preconceived, thought construct that is in you. Wherever that comes from, is in the bigger picture, same for all of us, but in the sort of more detailed picture, obviously individual. But for the most part, we come into this world and we are being taught by caregivers, by teachers, and peers, neighbors, and the leaders of our communities, to strive for a certain ideal. Okay, and it isn't until later in life, right around 30, when some kind of impulse kicks in that says, wait a minute, is that really what I want? And in order to get to that place, or beyond that place, in order to crack that nut, we need to give ourselves freedom. We need to strive for the freedom to think for ourselves, to feel for ourselves, and then ultimately to make choices by ourselves. So making conscious choices is the result, guys, of this impulse for freedom that is sort of the core of our consciousness development. And all these processes that we go through, going through, learning how to liberate ourselves from all the things that are not us, and then becoming able to discern truth. And then based on that, becoming able to connect deeper, all right? These are all just preparation for something else. It's the Trinity, okay? The Trinity is, becoming an independent, individuated soul self. That's the impulse of freedom. Then being able to know what is true, basically to discern dark from light. Very important, because that's what the ability to discern truth allows you to do. It allows you to know the difference between dark and light. And then fundamentally, how to connect deeper. The deeper connection process is also divided in different aspects. First, you connect with yourself, and apply the freedom and the truth, to be fully one with your true self. And then you begin to connect with higher power, and you realize, that which you're seeking is not actually a physical love, but a higher love, and that higher love, though, is reflected in your relationships, or can be reflected in your relationships. And so we seek, the mirroring of that in our relationships. And only then you are basically prepared enough, to understand that, the true striving in this physical life, is not actually about any kind of material gain or having, owning, because that's only temporary. That's only, for as long as you live. But the true existence of what defines you, the purest essence, of who you are. We could call this the soul, okay? But that actually has a life on its own. And it's independent of this physical life. In other words, we begin to feel that there's more to life than just the actual physical manifestation of life, the physical expression of it. And that's when we realize that, we're a soul with a body, and that body is temporary. But the soul is not. Which means that everything that we do here in this life must have some kind of impact, not only on the direct, sort of matter, the material around us and other people that we meet in our life, but also an effect on our soul. It must somehow, yeah, do something to the evolution of our soul. And that's when you realize, okay, so if all this is not about this life, if all this is not about, owning, that it's not even about cracking all nuts and understanding all the mysteries about physical life, that's when you realize that there's a much bigger mystery. There's the mystery of the higher power. There's the mystery of the power that brought everything into existence. And that's then how we end up with, basically the search for God, okay, the search for higher power. And if you've gotten that far, okay, you will realize that there's an impulse in you. Yeah? So some call this the God spark, that make you seek that first on the outside. And then at some point of your spiritual initiation process, you begin to see that you've been looking in the wrong place. Yeah. The outside is the physical. But that is actually something that is in you. Yeah. That wants to come into expression. It wants to observe itself in its expression. So now you can connect your soul life back with your physical life and can say, oh, so that's why I'm here. Okay. Yeah, there's this soul in me, yeah, this individuated soul that knows what it is, yeah, that wants to bring that sort of God, that divine part into the physical while being alive. And so do all other humans. So I'm not the only one that does that. We are all from the same. So we're all basically driven by the same impulse, more or less. Yeah? And the more or less, the degree of that has to do with our awareness. So obviously someone can, produce or manifest or create something very, very beautiful without ever having contemplated these kind of things. What could be examples of, this higher expression? Yeah, the bringing sort of the divine God spark into the physical. What can you think of when you think of this? Think of unconscious ways of manifesting the higher power in you. How do we all, without even having to think about it, manifest this higher expression that, whether we trust in it or whether we are good at translating it or whether we do this consciously or not consciously, what are these things that we do that are intrinsically good, intrinsically beautiful, intrinsically, life-giving? What are some of these expressions that we, even if we've never had a conversation like this, that we're capable of bringing into this world? You can see this really well with children. Yeah, children do this because they have, less of these preconceived programs. So there's less to shove out of the way. It's much more pure in children. What are examples for those manifestations of, basically our higher potential, our higher expression? Human traits.
I don't know, a sense of creativity and belonging and not having to question that and just being expressive without having to think about it too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so again, freedom, yeah. The freedom
Cheers.
to express yourself,
Sorry.
right?
What I
Like
meant
that's
to
what a
say.
3-year-old does, right? It has no problem with, expressing everything the way it comes in. In whichever way.
The purity of just trusting and being curious.
Yeah. Like open-minded, really. Is that what you mean? Yeah, that's what kids bring that in. They are totally open-minded. Yeah. Sean, what you said earlier, compassion, for example. Compassion is in all of us. Okay, if it's not, then there is some kind of dysfunction. Yeah, we're all born with, these mirror neurons. Yeah, we can't help it, whether we call ourselves energetically sensitive or not. Yeah. The 2-year-old will start crying if another 2-year-old cries. We'll start laughing if another one laughs. Yeah, it's a very, very instinctive kind of thing to mirror that back. Yeah, and we'll be concerned, yeah, if the other gets hurt. We'll come over and try to soothe it. Yeah, these are very pure expressions of our humanity. What else? How about sharing? Sharing a cookie. Yes, we have an ego that says, oh, no, I want a bigger piece. That's all right. But the impulse to share when we have more than we need is part of our human expression. What else? Let's remember all the cool things about being human, guys. Let's remember the pure essence of what makes us humans human.
Joy.
Yeah. Joy, like pure joy, just being able to completely, dedicate a moment, yeah, to something that elates us, even if it's only temporary. I mean, you can see it in dogs too, not so much in cats. Not sure about tigers. It's more comfort. Yeah, so with the animals, comfort, but higher vibratory animals, all right, they can actually express joy.
Yeah, joy is really, really key for me. I do a lot of play and laughter, and like right now, as I'm listening, I'm at the park with my daughter doing some martial arts training with the dog, having a laugh. So that's key to just living day to day. If you're not laughing and enjoying it, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, joy is not always just expressed through laughing, but it is the enjoyment of something, like to choose something because it brings you joy or it brings other people joy. Yeah, could even be something like preparing a meal for somebody. Yeah. Depends on whether you like cooking or not. It's very enjoyable for me. Or to have a dog, for some people it's a huge responsibility or a huge nuisance to have a dog. For me, it's a huge, big joy. Can put a smile on my face, and it does so like 50 times a day, just looking at my dogs, talking to them. What else, guys? Remember what it means to be human. all these layers of pain and fear and bad experiences and, even to a degree, expectations or, sort of ideals, okay, cover all that up. That is what makes us become broken. It is what makes us become unwhole. So in order for us to fully understand what it actually is that we're seeking, we need to realize, that this wholeness that we want, we're looking for, something that is already in us, but maybe that we are having a hard time accessing. Yeah, that the wholeness is something that must have been there at some point. How would we know that it is part of us if we have never loved, or if we have never been able to see truth, if we have never been free? How would we know? Do you understand where I'm going with this? There's a memory in you, okay? Yeah, these impulses, they don't come from the outside. They don't rain down onto you. This all comes from within you. And even if you or your ego part of your mind cannot remember the last time when you laughed out loud, or when you truly, truly enjoyed being in the company of someone, or when you saw through the fog of delusion or illusion with such a clarity, that you didn't have to question truth. Or when you had this moment where you felt absolutely free, without any binds or any ties, even if you personally can't maybe pinpoint the last time you felt that way. It is, though, something that you can connect with when I talk about it, right? It is something, that is in you. And that is what we call the spiritual impulse. The spiritual impulse is an impulse from your consciousness soul. That part of your soul that is conscious of itself. And really what this spiritual journey and all these different processes, these different sort of pathways that we have to learn how to walk them, what they're all about, is to realize that that is all in you already, like this proverbial sculpture, hidden in the granite block. That is who we are. The higher expression of us is already there. But we need to chip off all the stuff that has either blocked that from expressing, or that has kept it hidden from us, so that we can't even believe that there's something like wholeness in us, where we believe that we're broken, that it's too late, or that it's no point, or that we don't deserve, or, that we're not good enough. All these kind of things, these are the programs that we talked about earlier. So to remember that sculpture, that higher expression of us, which I earlier called the God spark, is already in us. Then we begin to realize that our journey is nothing, at first, of course, chipping all that away, clearing all that away, becoming more aware, liberating ourselves, learning how to discern truth, and then as a consequence of that, learning how to connect more deeply with the universe, and with it, God. Then we realize, okay, that What we are seeking, is to just be what we already are, but not in a sort of etheric or just immaterial, but in a material way. So the way I see this, guys, is kind of like, these soul selves that we all are, each and every one of us on a different developmental stage, depending on how many practice rounds we already had, to bring our, our divinity into physicality, into matter. So that's very important to understand, which is also why we can't compare our journeys. We all have very, very individual journeys. We come here and we already have everything that we are, that we need, that we can be. And the only job is to bring it into expression. Go bake a cake. It's like a technical challenge in the British baking show. Here are the ingredients. Okay? And here is what you're supposed to do. And now go. So if you have had a lot of experience in baking before, and you know a lot of different cakes, okay, and you look at the instruction manual, which is very rudimentary, it just says what the ingredients are and, sort of what some of the conditions are, that you have. Here you have an oven, and here you have, these tools and so forth. That's all you get. So if you have experience with it, you'll know what to do. Okay, you'll know that if you have to do a cake batter, that you may want to start with the eggs and the butter. Now, if you've never done this before, you will not know the order in which things go. You will not know, that, you can't really start out with the dry parts, the flour, for example. You have to, well, depending on the recipe, but, that you kind of have to create something that is cohesive. Okay? And in order to create this cohesiveness, you need to really attune to what it is that you're creating. If you don't know what it is that you're creating, what do you think is going to happen? You're probably just going to take all the ingredients and throw them in one bowl and turn on the mixer and hope that something comes out of it. That's how I learned how to bake. Literally. I'll never forget this. I was like 7 years old, and that was the chemist in me, right? I love just mixing up things. And the weirdest things, happened without the baking part, just mixing up things and see what happens. And then later I, watched my mom doing things to it, cooking things and baking things. And I tried myself. That's, how I learned how to bake. And the first attempts weren't really successful at all. It can still happen. But obviously, the more practice you have, now you know what the different sort of components are, and you know how they behave when you mix them, and you know which part you need for this or that result. It becomes a lot easier for you, the whole process. And then it's just a matter of like, okay, sometimes your cake will turn out differently based on the outside temperature or humidity or altitude. Or sometimes it will just be the kind of butter or the kind of sugar or the kind of flour that you use. You see what I'm saying? Those are all things that we have, sort of as these tools, as these ingredients in us already. And we have to learn how to tune that. And once you realize that you are soul with a body, And then you also, in a very simplistic way, begin to realize that it's not about the number of cakes. It's not about, how big your showpiece is. Okay? It's about designing and manifesting, baking a cake that represents you. Yeah? Adding that to, the 8 billion people cake selection, that is there. Adding your personal medicine, your personal expression to the variety. Has anybody here read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide Through the Galaxy? Or is familiar? Maybe you watched the movie. Anybody know The Hitchhiker's Guide? Okay, yeah, I guess that's an age thing. Okay, Sean, Julian. Okay, so there's a concept in it. Douglas Adams is one of those genius authors for me. So I discovered him when I was 16 years old, and it was sort of iconic, at the time among myself and my peers. And there's a concept there that really struck me at that age. And that was, why the earth exists and how it all came about. So the whole book really is about God. Yeah, the whole, or book series, better say, is about, higher power. What is the source of all that exists? And it's very, very entertaining literature. So I would strongly recommend that you actually read those books. They're very easy to read, very fast, hour and a half, 2 hours per book. Yeah, from a literary perspective, it's not very deep, but from a philosophical perspective, it's very deep. And there, Douglas Adams introduces a concept, and that is that the planet Earth was designed, to come up with a question, to ask the right question. Because in the universe, and that's fiction, obviously, there was, sort of the leaders, of that sort of fictitious universe. They had fed this, like, the super smartest beings in the universe with, all the components of the universe and all life. And they wanted to know what life is, and the answer was 42. But the problem was that when you get an answer like that, 42, you don't really know what that means. Because what is missing is kind of like the equation. It's kind of like, well, what's the question behind that? I mean, 42 is not an answer to, life and the universe. So the concept that was introduced there, and I thought this was a very, very cool sort of retrocausal idea, that the planet Earth was created in order to find out why we're here. Yeah, in order to find out what's behind all life and all the universe. And right when, the Earth, as a sort of an organism or a supercomputer, so to speak, was ready to spit out the answer, it got destroyed by some seemingly random alien nation, okay, that needed to make space for some kind of space highway, okay? And that's how the book starts, really. So the point about this is that if you think the other way round, okay, if you allow yourself the freedom, to think things through from perhaps how they were designed, or how, like what the purpose of them is, then you might actually get better answers than when you follow, somebody else's predetermined or programmed or, indoctrinated or spoon-fed or mind-controlled or whatever you want to call this, idea of that. Yeah, so Matthew, your impulse for curiosity is an extremely important impulse. Yeah, wanting to find out. It's the number one characteristic of consciousness. Yeah, and Sean, your impulse for freedom, yeah, to liberate yourself. There's some kind of impulse or some kind of memory in you that you're not actually freely thinking or freely feeling. Yeah, that you're influenced by other people, be it through what they say or how they react to you or blah, 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 that prevents you from bringing yourself into, well, you called it creative expression. Yeah, but I would say, like, so that it fits for all of us, into expression, period. Yeah. And when it comes to love, which, made all you guys go very quiet, all of a sudden, yeah, seems to be the biggest mystery of all. Yeah, we're just sort of at the beginning of understanding, what that actually is based on within ourselves. And we had some qualities here, such as compassion, such as joy, yeah, such as creativity, such as sharing, yeah, that somehow all play into our understanding of love. As a matter of fact, when we brought these traits together, I called them human traits. Now think backwards, guys. Maybe without thinking at all at this point, without the intellectual thinking. What is the stuff we're made out of? Does anybody have an intuition? What's the stuff
Love.
we're made? Yeah. Love. Not in this sort of sentimental or, ideal or idealistic way. But all these traits, yeah, that we count as human traits, and there's obviously many, many more. Yeah. Collaborating, exchanging, all these things, like motivating one another, building something together, growing together. Yeah, those are all human traits. They're all based on love. So if we all had love, if we all could have figured out the mystery of love, we would better understand what truth and freedom means. Do you know why? Because those are the two things that are missing or somehow transfigured in us. If we all knew the truth about love, would we actually have all these traumatic experiences, be it father love, mother love, sibling love, relationship love? No, could we? Because we would be able to discern what is true love and what isn't. If we had figured out the truth about freedom, would we have all these negative experiences with love? Guys, what are your guys' negative experiences about love and connection with others? They all have to do with not knowing truth and not knowing freedom. The stuff that we are made out of is love. But in order to fully embody that, in order to fully attune ourselves to that which we are, we need to go through a refinement. We need to go through a development. That is what I called earlier. We got to earn it. We're already made out of it. So it's like the seed, the sunflower seed. Yeah, it already has all the information to become a sunflower. No doubt about it. It just needs water, it needs the right soil, the right temperature, and sunlight. And if the sunflower seed takes an LED lamp or candlelight for sunlight, what do you guys think? Is it going to be able to grow? If it takes poisonous soil, if it takes alcohol instead of water, will it be able to grow? Nope. Exactly. That's us, guys. We're these God seeds, okay? And we got to figure out how to grow. How to grow into what is already programmed, not programmed as in like conditioned, but what's in our sort of core essence in that seed, what we truly are. And the three components of that are freedom, truth, and love. And the driving force, the driving power behind that, Matthew, is curiosity. So we all have consciousness for free. Yeah. Oh, some people refuse to become conscious, but we cannot help but be curious. Yeah, and we can refuse it in the course of our lives and say, no, I got my house, I got my car, I got my job, I got my retirement, I don't need to know anymore. Yeah, that is the mystery of the universe. That's the mystery of life, and I got it figured out, and that is where I stay. This is what I want. So this is the food for thought here, and obviously I'm talking about the conscious thought, the impulse that I wanted to give to you here, to understand the deeper esoteric concepts behind, this activation that I talked about, and the spiritualization that comes through these inner impulses to remember who we truly are. That is what that means, guys. Yeah, so of course you are a divine being, and of course you are light, okay? But there is lots and lots of different things that you have to figure out on the way to, well, embody it. Yeah, to bake the cake. You got to learn how eggs behave, and how butter behaves, and how sugar behaves, and how fruits behave, and how the soil behaves, and how, water and all these things, these things that we just talked about, how all that behaves, in order for you to figure this out. How to best attune, that's a very important word in esoterica, to the true spiritual nature that you want to bring into expression. Now, attuning means that, just like an instrument, okay, so you already have everything, but it needs to be brought into coalescence. It needs to be brought into coherence, with whatever the outer conditions, the circumstances, inner and outer circumstances are. Temperature, sunlight hours, humidity, etc. Yeah, like just to give that kind of analogy here. So if you just joined, or none of that will make sense to you, because you built sort of a whole sort of chain of ingredients that are needed to understand what it actually is that is working through us, and where this is headed, what the purpose of that is. So in your own words, Can you take this impulse that I just basically provided for you, for this deeper understanding, and I don't mean understanding as in figuring out, but for the deeper view, the deeper perspective of what it means to be human. Can you take that into your own words and formulate for yourself what it actually is that you are seeking? This is the place where we started this conversation. What is it that you're seeking? And this time, in an even more conscious way. Can you translate that into your own words?
I think for me, it's seeking to uncover what's already there in terms of freedom, truth, and love.
So the sculpture, you want to chip away all the stuff that's around this, the sort of core essence of what is already there. Okay. Other ways to express that. It's no right and wrong, obviously. It's all about your personal rendering. It's all about your, medicine, if you will. Your expression of that. But your consciousness is what allows you to turn this into sound waves by speaking it. What is it that you're seeking?
I like what Linda said about the sculpture and becoming that which we are and which we are trying to connect with. It's really hard to find the words for that. But yeah, to embody that, to become it, who we truly are. First seek it and then become it.
Mm-hmm. See it as your homework. Not obviously to impress me or anything like this, but make that a goal. To formulate this for yourself, to be fully aware of that, what it actually is that you're seeking. And then, first step can be to bring it into expression, be it, in written form, like a form of like a journal or something like that, or a song or a picture or a conversation that you have with somebody else. Yeah. Juliana, I see what you posted, but there's a verb missing. You say spirit essence of who I am and being in this world. Becoming. Okay. Seems like a minor detail. It's the most important part. Can you see that? It's the becoming of it. Yes. Becoming your spirit essence of who you are and being in this world. Since I was the one who brought up the subject, I would like you to add the attunement aspect to that. You do not have to become your spirit essence. You already are it. Okay? But you are here in a physical form. Yeah, you've taken on a physical form as a spirit essence. And therefore, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about basically what the purpose is of living a life. Physical life. Keep working on this sentence, Julianne. Remembering is coming in. Those are all important words. Maybe shuffle those words around a little bit. until you get to this place where you really come up with a sentence, yeah, that stands for, you know, what drives you, what it is that you seek, what it is that you strive for. Because we know that consciousness expresses in the constant striving, yeah, for a higher expression. Yes, Linda, uncovering is also part of this. So guys, keep working on this. Make it more aware to you. Who you are, what you are, and why you're here. That is then what inoculates you. Inoculates, it makes you immune to all these things that, Sean, that you mentioned in the beginning, that distract you, or that hurt you, or that scare you, yeah, or, you know, that temporarily throw you into illusion, yeah, or delusion, or self-deception. And then next Monday, I would love to talk to you guys about, you know, the chipping away process. Yeah, like what it actually is that we are doing when we chip, you know, the granite around this like most beautiful divine sculpture that we are away. Yeah, what this sort of healing process, yeah, this is a new definition of healing that we will create there, namely not fix what is broken. Yeah, this is what most of us think of healing at first, but to remember, yeah, the whole and reinstate it. Yeah, reinstate the wholeness within ourselves. Yeah, that is always there. So that's then next Monday in our study group. Until then, work on this formulation, what it is that you are and that you're striving for. And don't see it as an absolute. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. This is just between you and you. Yeah, you can post it here. Don't really have a forum thread or anything for this study group, but maybe you can post it here, you know, as just call it study group, and if you want to, yeah, and share it with us so that we can all sort of discover and uncover and remember and, you know, sort of invoke that within ourselves, yeah, by reading all these different renderings, yeah, all these different versions, yeah, of how it can be formulated, yeah, the purest essence of what it means to be human. Thank you, guys. Great talk. I see you again on Wednesday, and those of you who are in the energetic training club, in the energy training club, we are starting our trauma healing cycle tomorrow morning.